Shadow IR Minister Tim Wilson has written to Energy Minister Chris Bowen after asbestos was found in the brake pads of wind turbine lifts used by renewable energy company Gold Wind Australia. It's a Chinese-based company that runs wind farms in various locations right around the country, including Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland. Joining us live this morning, the Shadow IR Minister Tim Wilson. Tim, so the importation of asbestos is illegal in Australia, has been since 2003. So what are you seeking from the Minister?
What we want is a full audit to make sure that there is no asbestos being exposed to Australian workers. Safety is very important on Australian work sites, including renewable energy sites. We also want to make sure that there's a proper pause on installations until we can make sure that there's proper understanding about whether this is a serious risk. The Minister can act, he should act, because it's important to make sure Australian workers are safe.
Well, it just so happens that there's a Chinese delegation in Canberra today. Should it be raised?
Well, it's absolutely something that the government should follow through proper processes, but this is about getting to the bottom of the problem first and then making sure that if there's supply chains where asbestos is getting through, stopping it. And if that requires talking to their government, so be it. But it's about making sure that we know the scale of the problem. It's action, because we've got to make sure that we don't have Australian workers exposed to asbestos on Australian work sites.
OK, your last party room meeting today of the year, is that going to be to lock in support for the leader Susan Lee, who's been pretty busy lately?
I think the conversation is going to be about legislation like it always is. I know this is an ongoing conversation the media likes to talk about, but our focus has been very clearly on holding the government to account. You just talk about the issues that I was raising around asbestos and Australian work sites. We've got problems where Chris Bowen is overseeing a decaying electricity grid, but his focus is going off and swanning around the world in Turkey. This government is distracted and it's not focused on how to get costs of living down for Australians. That's where we want the government's focus, and that's what we're going to keep prosecuting the case on.
The media is just reporting what polls are indicating, and according to polls, 6% of Liberal voters believe you should be leading the party, Tim. So are you keeping your powder dry for a run next year?
Well, I picked up that copy of the newspaper and was surprised to see my name in as anybody, but I did tweet about it because I thought it was entertaining. But, Susan's leader, that's the focus. Because the conversation is how we win, because we being the Australian people need to win, not any individual, because our focus should always be on how we take the country forward together. OK,
what about you personally? I mean, you ran on a campaign of net zero, amongst other things, but net zero is something the party now doesn't subscribe to. So did you mislead your Goldstein constituents?
Well, actually, that was the party's policy at the last election. It wasn't something specific to myself.
But you still had to run on it, though. Sure, every Liberal candidate, every single person who was elected to the federal parliament, including the National Party, was elected on that platform at the last election. We've had a policy review and our policy position is silent on it. You can still support a net zero position. You can still advocate for it. You can still say it's welcome, because our focus is how to decarbonise the economy and make sure we get lower emissions. And every interview I've done on this program since the election, Carl, and you can go back and review the tapes, I have said consistently, the pathway to lower emissions is to get lower prices down. Because if you get lower prices, it's the social licence to achieve lower emissions too. So is that what you're saying to your constituents, though, some of whom will feel like you misled them?
Well, that's what I've said on this program. It's what I've said to my constituents consistently. And it's what I said before the election as well. We had a target before the election. The policy is now silent. I still believe deeply in decarbonisation. I still believe deeply in getting lower electricity prices. I believe deeply in making sure we have lower outages as well. My objective is how do we build Australia's clean industrial future so that we can have all of the objectives met. So I'm still consistent in fighting for those things every step of the way. That's what we need to build the future of the Australian economy.
So you'll be staying on, though? There had been some talk in recent weeks that you could resign from the front bench, the opposition front bench.
Oh, people always speculate about all these sorts of things. I've done exactly what I've said every step of the way. I've advocated for the position we took to the last election. I follow party processes. I've honoured my commitments. I'm not the one who should be resigning.
Do you expect Zoe Daniel will be dining out on this in 2028?
I don't really care. I mean, the former member went to an election on the basis of climate action, trust and ceasing fossil fuel subsidies.
then went and voted for $3 billion of new fossil fuel subsidies, directly in contravention of her commitment on trust, cutting fossil fuel subsidies and climate action. She has no qualifications or credibility in this space.
Okay, well, you do certainly have time on your side, plenty of it. But Tim, thank you for your time as always.